Hello, welcome back to another episode of Adobe Live. And this week we are focusing on UX and UI design. Welcome, thanks for joining us. I'm Sarah, I'll be your host today, and we have the lovely Alex joining us. He's going to be working on some cool projects with us for the next 3 days. But before we jump into Alex and his background, I want to talk a little bit about this week. And so if you were joining in this morning, you got to see James Hu and Paul Triani talk about succulents while they're working on a lovely succulent app. We'll be working with Alex on a DJ-related application, which he'll talk a bit about in a little bit. And later today, Kevin Lee will be with Jessica Moon working on some social media influencer applications. So check in all week to learn a little bit more about how to do UX and UI design and to dig into these different various industries and topics that people will be working on. We also have challenges. We hope you participate in these challenges, and they're going to be a lot of fun. Today we're working on a travel blog landing page, and we've given you a beautiful UI kit. We're just asking you to create one screen. You can create more if you'd like to, and we'll be reviewing those later today and picking a winner. Day 2, we'll be working on some time travel smartwatch stuff, and the third day is portfolio reviews. Great. So also, don't forget you can do chat and win, and today we have the lovely prize of an XD pouch. So just by participating, just by chatting, we'll be announcing a winner that can win these lovely prizes. So we hope you participate. Feel free to ask questions as we go along, and Alex will be the expert today on UX and UI design. So Alex, do you want to talk a little bit about your background, what you're doing here, and about you?
Yeah, so my name is Alex Banaga, everybody. I'm a UI UX designer. Can I put this over here to do the...
No, just keep it on your screen, and we'll transfer over to your screen so you can see. There we go.
So I've done a lot of just startup work for YC companies. 2 years ago, I worked at Jelly, and the year before that, I worked at Pinterest. So that was really fun. Cool. And I just help a lot of startups with kind of finding their online presence.
Nice.
Yeah.
So your focus has been helping people find their online presence? It's been like your mission in life?
I don't know if it's my mission in life yet, but it's been my focus now for quite some years.
Awesome. Yeah. And what's been your favorite place to work at?
Favorite has probably been Jelly. I got to work really closely with Biz Stone, and he created Twitter. He was one of the co-founders.
Wow, that's cool.
So I was like the only designer there, so that was just really cool to just...
That's a lot of pressure to be the only designer.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure, but I learned a lot just working with someone who was so involved in the tech industry then, and that was probably my favorite place to work.
Very cool. And where can people find you online?
They can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Dribble, or Behance at /Alex Banaga.
It's good that you got your username for all those locations. It's always a tough one.
Well, I was thinking about putting the little @ symbol where the slash is, but then I was like, if you put in any of those .coms and then just do the slash, that's actually the URL.
Gotcha.
So that's how I did it.
And you also built your portfolio site, right?
Yeah.
Can we take a look at that? You want to pull that up?
Yeah, so I was looking at a lot of people. I think one of the things all designers struggle with is like, how do you design your own like personal website? Mm-hmm. So that was something that I struggled with, but I wanted just to keep it very simple, and I thought if you were coming to like my site, what would you want to see? And some of the work probably would be outdated, so it would be best if you just, got a link for my socials, and then I just have where I'm working at currently, and then where I've been in the past.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's a clean layout. A lot of people are doing this type of layout where they're linking out to various websites where they do update their work regularly, so they don't need to maintain multiple locations. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Great. So Alex, what are we going to be working on today and for the next 2 days?
Yeah, so just to give you some background on why we're going to work on this project, I started in high school at designing, and when I first started, I lived in a small town called Temecula, where there actually there was just dirt there. You don't really do anything there.
Just dirt, yeah.
Yeah, just dirt. And so I found this little social media site, like 4 or 5 years ago called Dribble.
Nice.
And I got on it. I got like an invite, and I got on like super young, and it really changed like my whole life, because I was able to be somewhere where like no one knew about design, and then get all this like expertise from around the globe from people that were just like, oh, I like that design, or I like the way you did this. So
yeah,
that's kind of how I got my feedback and kind of just started getting in the game of like design.
So as you going online and finding an online community, kind of like we're doing here with Adobe Live, where you're able to get 100%. Feedback from people, you're able to put your work out there. I think it's super important to have that available to you, especially as you're learning and growing as a kid.
I agree, and that was a big part of like I think why I was able just to like take it so aggressively was because Dribble was like my measuring tool because I didn't have anyone to like show my work to and say like, hey, was this good? There was no creative director or anything like that. We had like a graphic design class, but it was more for like designing little banners for like Facebook or something like that. And I wanted to dive into UI and UX.
I think there are a lot of people in chat that probably had the same experience. So let us know if you were in a place where maybe you didn't have designers in your area and you were able to find a place online, maybe here, to participate and figure out how to get into design. And thank you all for joining. I see Kyle Webster is noting he doesn't know anything about UX or UI. I think he might know a little bit.
He's got to know a little bit to be here, right?
Yeah, and Kyle actually made a bunch of our brushes for Photoshop. He's a really great guy.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
So check out Kyle's brushes if you haven't already. Voodoo Val, it's great to see you again. And so feel free to ask ask Alex questions as we go along. And I think that the project you chose to do today is really great, and it's very modern too. So, what are you hoping to accomplish this week? What do you want to do with us?
You know, I think a lot of people get into tech nowadays. I see a lot of people they want to do startups. A lot of people have ideas, and I think that that's going to be the future is people that can actually build out their ideas. So today I'm going to show you guys how to build a web product. So it's going to be a web application. If you would imagine if Dribble and SoundCloud had a baby, that's what we're making. So it's a social media website for music producers. It's something that I've had in the back of my head now for years, and I've experimented with kind of building it out a little bit, but now we're actually going to take this week to build it with you guys.
Great, awesome. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. And are we going to go through some of the UX UI process as we do this?
Yeah, we'll do it all.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So what are we going to start with today?
Yeah, so we will start with just how I get started on everything. So the way I get started on everything is you actually got to open the program. And then you just
And what program are we using today?
We're using Adobe XD, which I'm a new user. I'm sure maybe a lot of the people watching might be new users or not on there yet. But it's been amazing. Just the learning curve is extremely fast. If you like Sketch, like this thing is like Sketch with like some intelligence behind it. It's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of new features coming out with XD2, and now we offer a free subscription model. So you get one free project and one free prototype. So please check it out. It's free. There's no reason not to play around with it and participate in the challenges. And we hope you participate as we go along. And we already have some questions here, so I'm going to go ahead and ask you. Trisha's wondering, she shifted from product design to UI and UX, and she's wondering what advice you'd give to noobs.
From product design to UI UX?
Yeah.
I would say, believe it or not, I was told, don't take on a lot of projects, say no, stay focused. And I've learned that my kind of skill set was saying yes, which in turn sometimes is a bad thing. But I learned that just taking on as many projects as you possibly can with the 24 hours you have in your day, you get better a lot faster. It's like kind of a sports person practicing. You know what I mean?
You just got to keep at it, keep doing it. That makes a lot of sense.
So that's my best advice, would just be to do it as much as possible.
But I think it's also important that you bring out that it's good to say no sometimes, because you can say yes to everything, but you also need to know when to say no to things that aren't on the path for what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, she said she was a beginner, and as a beginner, I think a lot of people, come to you and they're like, hey, can you help me with this? And if you don't say yes to those opportunities, later you're not going to be able to say no, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. Hi, Party House. Nice to see you. Catherine, Alex, Kaloon. Thanks for joining us today. And it looks like we have something up on XD already, so you've already prepared some stuff here.
I prepared some stuff for us. I came here prepared.
Perfect. So what are we looking at?
So what we're looking at here is this is going to be kind of I would say the 80% version of what we're going to build out over the course of the next few days. And it's basically the web app. So this is what you're going to see if, let's say I was able just to snap my fingers and this thing was built. This is what you would see.
Gotcha. So you always start here. What do you mean by that? So you always start with...
So I start with the blank canvas. So like with this, I've obviously spent hours working on this, but I would start with something like this, just plain and white.
Gotcha.
And we can dive straight into it. But basically I would just start creating rectangles or shapes that, would lay out the website for me.
Yeah, also known as wireframes?
Wireframes, yep, wireframes.
Awesome. So you jump straight into wireframes in XD or in a digital product. You don't normally do sketches in a notebook or anything like that?
No, my handwriting has always been like extremely bad. So my designing and drawing has been very bad as well.
I gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, I do all my wireframing from just direct on canvas.
That's also easier to translate when you want to move from wireframes to the final product, right? So
yeah, and a lot of my designing friends, they have the pad where they draw with the pen and it goes on the screen.
Wacom tablet.
I think so. Yeah. So that helps them, but for me, it's always just been inside the program, just designing from scratch.
Perfect. It's cool to hear about your process. Alrighty, so we're wireframing it out.
Yep. So I guess where I'll start is we'll just start by, I kind of had these presets with just the width. So my width for this canvas is going to be 1312. So I literally just start by putting a rectangle down and then just inputting 1312, which is going to be my width. So I'm going to stay within that for this project.
Yeah, is there a way that you decide the width of your canvas or how you want to build out the responsive sizes?
Yeah, typically I will like go on other products that are online, like SoundCloud or Dribbble, and believe it or not, I have like a little bit of experience with development, so I'll do like inspect element and I'll hover over where their guidelines are. So I found that the most common one was 1312.
So your developer is showing through just a little bit because he's using his ability to look at the code on a website to figure out what they're using live to know how to influence his work when he's working in design.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you done development work while working on design work in the past? Or?
Yeah. So one of the companies that they're actually live, they're around right now as well, Trust Token, which is that company right there. If you go to trusttoken.com, it's on my screen. I did their website, designed it, and then I actually built it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're not just designing, you're also building it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. That's crazy.
Yeah.
We have some people saying, like Darshan, it would be helpful to have some points as to what we're going to cover each day. So maybe tomorrow we can do that. We can have some bullet points as to what we're going to cover so you know what we're going to be doing.
Sounds
but I
good.
think we're also just organically working through this problem.
Sweet. So typically on every web application, you have a navigation, and then you usually have like the meat, which is like the stuff that people are coming to the website for. So for Dribbble or Behance, it would be to look at the art the other designers are creating. Mm-hmm. Well, for this application, it would be to listen to the beats that the producers have, made.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I'm gonna start by just my navigation. So I have my width here. I have these colors defined. So I'm just gonna use this little color dropper. I'll just grab that color, and then I like removing borders just to make sure there's no other design going on there. And then from here, I had this thing where like typically a struggle with like new products is like, do you let the consumer dive straight into the content, which is like what people do on, what you do with like the Twitter or Behance, where you just see the content right away?
Yeah.
Or do you have some sort of landing page that pitches it, and then it sits behind the content sits behind the landing page? Mm-hmm. So for this product, we're just gonna have kind of a mixture of both, which I've thought always is really helpful, which is just a little bit of a description about what the product is, but allows the users to just dive right into the content.
Yeah, so it's also useful if you want to do some testing around what people use more frequently. Are they going to be jumping to the content? Are they going to be jumping through the onboarding?
Exactly.
So yeah, it's good to have both those options.
Yeah, so ours is going to be a mixture of both.
Perfect.
So what I'm doing with this square is I'm just kind of making it a little bit bigger, and this is going to be where I kind of put my tagline for newcomers who come to this website. They're going to be able to see what the website is about instantly.
Perfect, yeah. A lot of people are asking about the app and saying good things about Adobe XD. Again, I can't emphasize enough, as we're working through, you can see how easy it is.
Very easy.
And Alex is even new to this program, and you can see how quickly he's working.
I'm like a few days new to the program.
Nice,
And it's very fast. Like I picked it up in
easy.
honestly like 20 minutes.
Really, 20 minutes?
20 minutes. And I'm a slow learner.
I don't believe you, but yeah, it's very easy.
So this is what I was kind of talking about, where you see how we have like this banner right here that says discover and hear the world's music producers, sign up.
Yeah.
That gives the user who's coming here for the first time an idea right off the bat what this is, and then they can just dive straight into listening to some of the content the producers have made.
Nice.
So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do all this from scratch. So I just hit T on my keyboard. That brings up the keypad, and I'm just going to write discover the world's music producers.
And someone asked, it's off the screen now so I can't see who it was, but someone was asking if HTML and CSS skills are necessary for a designer, and I'm sure you have an opinion on that.
Yeah, I think, in the beginning I was one of those designers who was like, I'm only going to be design. But then as I wanted to build stuff, I just didn't like relying on developers. I had to reach out to people. Even when you work at a company, developers are so, stripped thin with their time that I found it better just to bite the bullet and kind of learn HTML and CSS. And it got funner over the years to where I was like really learning how to do stuff, not just being able to just put HTML to the screen.
Yeah, and do you feel like that influences your design, where you know how to design based on constraints you might be aware of?
Yeah, I think it does, because when you're designing, you think off the bat, like, am I able to build this out fairly quickly? You're able to give your developers, if you work at a larger company, a better estimate of time about how much this might, the design might take. So it's very helpful. And I know working at like Pinterest and stuff, when I would say, when I was interviewing and I would say, I know code, that was a big plus on my resume, for sure.
And Darshan is saying he doesn't know HTML or CSS, but he can still work as a designer. I think
100%. I worked probably for 6 years as just design, and I knew how to write "Hello World" on code. And then I got better, as just moving to San Francisco and being surrounded by a lot more developers.
Yeah, I think if you're a designer who doesn't know code, that's completely fine too. It all depends on what you're trying to do as a designer, but the better you can, I see it as languages. The better you can speak the language of a developer, the better you'll be able to translate it in your work. And so that's, I think, the key in what we're trying to say here. And so Alex was unable to speak the other language of developer properly, so he decided just to learn that language and do both. So I think whatever works for you, especially depending on the size of your team, it'll depend on how you want to approach these problems. Great questions, by the way.
Sweet. So I'm just going to keep jamming then. It's like 34 pixels. And then I want to bring this down a bit, so that it's kind of a little bit more easier to read.
Yeah, it might be a little bit hard to hear you, so just speak up a little bit so everyone can hear what you're saying.
Yeah, so all I'm doing here, guys, is you guys saw me type out discover the world's music producers. And I like using this tool. When I worked at Pinterest, it was very good to see what the designers who have been working there were doing, and when they kind of condensed the words together a little better, it was actually more legible on the eye. And I know that they do testing around that. So
awesome.
That's just what I'm doing here. I'm just making it so that when someone comes here, that's the first thing they're going to see. It's going to be the biggest font on this page. So that's all I'm doing there.
It's cool hearing about your thought process, even as you're just putting text on the page. There's thought behind it already.
Yeah.
And Richard's asking about you creating a website compared to apps for mobile.
Yeah.
I believe the other two streamers today, James and Kevin, are working on mobile applications. But check out those streams and see how to do mobile applications if that's what you're interested in. We'll be working on a website here.
Sweet. So I'm going to add, actually, now I want to make sure that when the user comes here that they're going to see this right away. So all I'm going to do here is I'm actually not going to use the dropper tool to grab that purple, but I'm just going to like kind of eye it and try to get something that's kind of vibrant and kind of feels good. So I would say like right there. And the reason that I'm doing that is because, color is part of what draws people's eye to a certain thing. So I want the user to see that this is what this site's about, and then they can dive into the content. So that's why this part is purple and not the bottom part,
Gotcha.
for example.
Yeah, the contrast also helps with making sure people look certain places.
Exactly.
Nice.
So now what I'll do is I'll do the sign up button. So buttons for me actually have always been a struggle.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they've always have. I don't know whether to make my buttons rounded, whether to add 16 pixels to the left or 13. What font you even use, like that goes in the button.
Gotcha.
But what I've discovered, just working at a lot of companies, is it really doesn't matter as long as the button is very legible. And I think the more clean the button feels, and also the more viewable the button is, I think that's kind of where I've kind of been like, all right, those are there right there. Yeah.
You got your button standard because buttons frustrated you so much?
They did. And actually I did a lot of research. I was doing like the inspect element thing.
Yeah.
And I found like the most common sizes were the 14 and 16 pixels.
Really?
For the font size that lives within the button.
Gotcha.
So we're going to be using 14 today, which is kind of a smaller button. And our call to action is just going to be sign up.
Perfect, straightforward.
Yeah, just forward, simple. A lot of the most like successful like apps we use every day are very simple when you think about it in terms of UI and UX, Instagram, Twitter. So everything we're doing is just very simple.
You want it to be simple, right?
Yeah,
Because you want to make sure you get your point across quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So now I'm just going to use I love the little keyboard shortcuts. I just hit R for everybody watching just to grab the rectangle. I'm just going to like just do this. I use the keyboard shortcut V to just go back to my selector.
Gotcha.
And then all I'm going to do here is just put it in here. I think it's behind my square now, so I'm just going to do command bracket to bring it forward. And then I'm going to make the font color this purple right there. So
Lots of shortcuts going on. Very
yeah,
great.
they were actually very, they're keyboard shortcuts that I think are on every design program. So
nice.
Yeah.
Again, XD is intuitive. He already knows the shortcuts after
20
a couple
minutes.
days.
It took me 20 minutes to learn it all. I promise you guys.
Yeah.
So I'm just hitting command and zoom in on my keyboard because now this is where I create the button. So I'm gonna take the border off. I'll make the corners rounded by 4 pixels. So I'm just gonna make it. I think on this one it makes it all corners are, and then this one you can edit to if you wanted this one to be straight or something.
Gotcha.
And then the way I create the button, like to create the padding that lives within it, is I'm using shift and right and left arrow to go over 10 pixels at a time right
Gotcha.
there. And I like to just have it left aligned, and then I'll go over 14 pixels to the left, and then that's how I get it like super accurate.
Gotcha. And Gigi is wondering if you have colors before you start designing. He was wondering if you had a color palette ready.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned you were eyeballing this purple for now.
I am eyeballing this purple, so if you guys are like, if it's hurting your guys' eye, we can change it.
But we mentioned these are wireframes, so I
Yeah.
think, we're not focusing too much on the colors at this point. Is that accurate? Or?
Right, but this color would actually be the main color
Okay.
of the website.
Yeah.
So I do just eye it. There's a lot of like in today's day and age with design, like the gradient feel going on.
Yeah.
Like the purple, like I think we have it as like the invite stuff or the thing we had for the Adobe.
Yeah, for Adobe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that vibrant colors, neon
there
almost
we go.
colors
You
with
go.
gradients is very in style right now.
Yeah.
And DJs are very in style now. So someone was asking what your DJ name is, Alex. Do you have a DJ name?
I like my last name, so it'll just be Banaga.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not a DJ though, but if
But
I was.
if you had a DJ name,
Yeah.
it would be Banaga.
So now all I'm doing here, guys, is I just clicked over on the right side, the width, and I'm just doing the shift, and I'm actually, instead of going left to right now, I'm bringing it down. So that's 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So now they're perfectly even on both sides.
Beautiful.
And then for the height, I do the same thing. I just bring it down, and I just go up like 12 pixels, so that's just 1, and then 1, 2. And then,
There are lots of questions coming in, which is really great. Thank you all for asking these questions. And Gujan asked if we sketch the design first. We talked about this, and Alex mentioned he doesn't usually sketch by hand.
I don't.
He'll jump right into the program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I just lined it. And then another thing that I like doing, if you got, one of my favorite websites of all time is actually Stripes.
Stripes.
Stripe.
Oh, Stripe.
Yeah.
Yeah. The company Stripe has a really nice website.
I think they have the sickest website on the face of the earth right now.
I'm glad you have a favorite so confidently. They just
Yeah.
released a business version of their website, which has some really great animations
Yeah.
and visuals. Yeah, they're doing a really good job.
And when I was on their website, what I do is I inspect the element. You're gonna probably hear that a lot because I like to copy like
Alex
great
the
work.
Inspector.
And I found that if you look on any of their buttons, they actually have like super light shadows. I think for the
Oh, really?
for the like normal person, they don't even see them. But for like a designer, you can actually go into the code and see I think it's like box shadow is the CSS preset, and you can see what they're using. So I like to always add shadows, even if they're super subtle, just to pop out the buttons a little more.
Hi, Peter. Peter also mentions that Stripe is 99% of clients' favorite site as well.
That's he's right.
Yeah.
So now I have, just to go back, we have this navigation where we'll put the logo, the search, the items that you typically go in the nav. We have this like little banner. I don't know what the height is. It's like 200 pixels, or 219 pixels, which kind of isn't that much. And then we'll lay out the content below.
Perfect, yeah. And this is a wireframe for Alex, so even though
Yeah.
it looks pretty nice, it doesn't look like my wireframes, but this is the way he wireframes things out.
Yeah. And you know what? There's no really right or wrong way to do it. Like I could go into the nav now, but since this section's almost done to me, maybe the color needs to be adjusted. But I want to add just one more little graphic. If you just had it like this, and then you had the bead stuff below it right here, and the navigation, this would feel a little empty.
Yeah.
So I kind of did this like mock logo, and I can show you guys how I did that in a minute, where it's just like this little sound bar.
Yeah.
So I just did that with just rectangles and rounded the corners.
With a gradient.
Exactly. And so what I want to do is I just decided to use some of the logo variants to put in the banner to just add a little bit more like pizzazz to the banner.
Yeah, and continuity in the design.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna create my rectangles. That's just R, and then I'm actually gonna use this one now where I can just get the top two and I'll make it like 50, make it 50, perfect, and then the fill. I struggled with this for years as a designer, like, how do I get the color that's good? Because I used to make it like that, but that doesn't really look too
that
good.
looks
It's
a little
hard
funny.
to see. And then I'd make stuff dark, and then I tried like a lot of stuff. And over the years, I found out if I just grab the background color and increase it just enough to where I can see it, it adds this like elegant like feel to it.
And it feels like it's from the same color palette.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's just all I did there, and I might make it a little lighter. And then I just do like Option Shift Drag just to duplicate it, and I'm just gonna bring this one down just a bit, and then I'll do the same Option Shift Drag just to bring it down, and bring this down just a little bit.
Nice.
And now we have like this little hill thing going on, but when I separate them, I'm just going to use Shift right arrow, because it'll give me 10 pixels, and then I can do exactly 10 on the other side.
Perfect. Shortcuts are great.
Yeah.
We have a couple people asking, Ane and NT, where you get your inspiration from. It sounds like Stripe is one of those places, but can you talk a little bit about where else you look?
I try to post on Dribbble every day, so I try to be at least one of the most
every day.
Every day.
Wow.
So I try to be one of the most active people on Dribbble, but I go on Dribbble every day.
That's crazy.
And then where I found a lot of other designers go is also Dribbble. So if I want some outside stuff, Landbook, I don't know if you're familiar with them.
No, I'm not.
Landbook is a website where it's inspiration. It's like a Dribbble, but it's only for live websites. You do not post shots.
Oh, wow.
So you put a link to a website, and if it's good enough, they'll post it there.
That's really cool. So you get to see live examples, and Alex gets to inspect them.
Inspect element, yeah. That's where I go on, and I'm like, I want that button.
Yeah, and Behance has been really great for me as well. So I try to look at Behance pretty often.
Behance is great.
Yeah, it's very similar to Dribbble. I think your point of participating every day in a community like
Behance
or Dribbble is such a good idea to make sure that you're building connections in your community and network. And by participating here and by participating in the challenges, you can get your work featured, which is really great too.
Yeah.
Cool. Great inspiration ideas.
So I don't like how that's what I just changed was there was 20 pixels and I put it back to 10.
Gotcha.
So now all I'm gonna do is I have these all selected, and I just grabbed it, I hit Shift to select the other, and held Shift to select the other. And then I'm just gonna hit Command G to group them, and then I can just Command C, Command V. I'm on a Mac, and I'm just gonna drag it over here, lay it right here, and then I don't know how to do the reverse yet with the keyboard.
Oh, yeah,
where
a
I can
shortcut for
turn
flipping
it.
it?
Yeah, but
I don't know either, actually.
all I'll do is I'll just probably I can do this. And then just to get the exact measurement, because now it's a little bit smaller, I'll just go back here and click my group and grab that width, and then just add it back to here.
Perfect.
So that they're identical now. So now we have a little bit more flair. These are a little too consistent, so I'm just gonna bring this down, bring him up.
Got to change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Derek was asking the name of the site that only shows live websites. Can you say it one more time?
Land, LAND, and then there's a little dash, book.com.
Okay.
Yeah. Sweet. All right.
Got some different
Yeah.
bubbly hills.
Just so it's different. And so now what we'll do is we'll go into the actual content. So we'll do the navigation last. There's no right or wrong way I found to do it. Usually a lot of people work from the top bottom, but I just want to get the content in there first so that it looks a little like it's filled.
Yeah, I wonder if different cultures also... Oh man, fireworks time. So
What does that mean?
don't forget to participate in chat for a chance to win this. Here we go. Pouch. 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 Chance to win the pouch. Alex, do you want to take a look at this and have some commentary on the lovely pouch we have here?
The iconography here is just like super amazing.
Yeah, the pattern is really cool. It looks like it was probably made in either XD or Illustrator.
My mom's birthday is coming up. I kind of want to get her one of these now.
Nice. Is your mom an illustrator too? Can she put her pencils and stuff inside?
She doesn't illustrate. She's in real estate, but I'm sure she'll put like
cards.
Makeup or something in there.
Makeup also. This could be a makeup bag.
Yeah, this is really cool actually. And it has like the little XD thing.
Yeah,
I always love when
logo.
like there's bags and then people are like, well, mine has like the
mine has the official logo. It's branding. So
awesome.
Tell us where you get inspiration from. Just say hi, participate in chance and in chat, and you'll have a chance to win this lovely pouch. Yeah, I always love the prizes that they give away here.
These are cool.
Yeah, we have a stencil kit on day 3. We have a notebook tomorrow, and we have this lovely pouch today. So, Alex, would you love to do the pleasure of announcing the winner for this lovely pouch?
Yeah, how do I pick the winner?
So just read the name on screen, and we're good to go.
Eileen Wong.
Eileen Wong! Congratulations! You win this pouch. You can use it for a makeup bag, you can use it for art supplies, you can use it for whatever you'd like. Congratulations. So sorry to interrupt in the middle of that.
That was fun.
Yeah,
that was fun.
yeah, and thank you everyone for participating. There's been so many good questions. I feel like we've had a really active community, so
Sweet.
keep it going.
Sweet.
And we'll jump back into putting in the content on the page here.
Yeah, so now I'm going to create this part of my design, which is going to be where the actual content lives. This is where the music producers would upload their beat and maybe have a clip art version of their beat, and then it would go.
Paul's trying to distract us by doing backflips in the background.
Sweet. So I'm just going to start by hitting the rectangle frame. I just drew it out, and then 28 by 28 is good. I'll make the corners rounded by hitting like right there 4 pixels. I want it all the way around.
Nice. And Eileen said she needed this, so this is perfect.
Eileen,
you have it now.
it's yours. So now I have these already presets, but I can just grab these. Oops, there, just by double clicking in. And putting those right there.
Sally had a question on Behance. It looks like there's an option to create a website through Adobe and asked if it's similar to XD. So if you don't know about Adobe Portfolio, I highly recommend you check it out. I'm currently building my newest version of my website with Adobe Portfolio. It's similar to Squarespace and other WYSIWYG editors. So just like maybe if you use Dreamweaver, you can put together a website, but you don't need to know any code. You can just put together different elements, type in different things, and add images, and I'll put it together for you in a beautiful layout. So I think it's free to try. Go ahead and try it out if you have your Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. And it can also pull projects from Behance and auto lay it out for you in a project page on your portfolio website. So that's really neat. I highly recommend you check it out.
Sweet. So I just grabbed some of the stuff right here, which this is just a circle that's 25 pixels by 25 pixels, and that's actually going to be where the avatar lives.
Gotcha.
And then we have the producer's name. My person is just going to be Hitboy. He's actually a real producer.
Oh, really?
From
Cool.
where I'm from, and he's actually really big. He works with like Kanye West, and
Wow.
he's a really big producer. And then this is like a made-up song name, and then right here, because it is a social media website, I thought it would be really cool to show the number of plays, the number of comments on that specific beat, and then the number of likes.
Cool. So you want to know all these different analytics?
Yeah, because when I was on Dribble, I loved seeing my analytics. That's actually how I helped, like, just so it's like, oh wow, I put up a shot and I got 2 likes. And then a month later, I would get one that got 4, and I was like,
Wow.
well, maybe people are starting to like my work.
We're getting better at
Yeah.
this. Yeah. It's good to
So-
get that feedback.
I wanted that same thing for producers to feel that. So that's
Speaking
what I
of
did there.
feedback, we have about 55 minutes left to submit your challenges. So please participate. We have a UI kit you can download and use as inspiration, but we want you to create a travel blog landing page. And Alex has some great tips and tricks he's teaching us as we go along. Feel free to use those as you're putting together your landing page.
Sweet. So we'll dive into the rest of the producers, but that's kind of the general layout, right? That we'll dive into the rest of the beats, but this is the general layout. We have the plays, the comments, the likes, the producer, and the name of the beat.
Nice.
With the avatar and the clip art as well.
Aaron Fields mentions Hit Boy is major, so apparently we got some fans in here.
Nice. He is pretty major.
Yeah, and so there might be an XD feature we can use with this element on the page.
We're gonna get into that.
Nice.
Yes. So all I'm gonna do here is literally all I did was I just clicked it and then Option Shift just to duplicate it because it has the font choice I'm already using. And I'm gonna title this Today's Hits, and this is gonna be like the popular page. This is gonna be where like the best content goes.
Gotcha.
So I'm just gonna bring this down to about 18 pixels. And you know what I also learned on working with so many startups and learning from so many amazing other designers over the years was sometimes it's not best to have all the font size matching.
Okay, yeah.
So the reason that Today's Hits is 18 pixels is because we haven't actually used that font size yet. So this might be an H3 to a developer.
Gotcha. Thinking about development again.
Yes. So there we have that. I don't need that to be as predominantly viewed as the Discover the World's Music Producer. So I'm just going to grab the same color as the background and then just make it pretty light. Just so that people could see it, but you know they got to kind of search for it. And then we have the layout of our producer content where it's going to live, and now we're going to use probably the sickest feature that I think has been that I've learned about so far, and it is like the best time consumer. It's one of those features that when you work in other programs, you're like, I wish you had this, and then you have it, and you're like, no way.
Sick feature alert next
Yeah, sick feature alert. So I have all these elements that are not grouped right now. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold Shift and just grab each element. And then I'm just going to group them by hitting Command G. And then this is where the magic starts. I just hit Repeat Grid. And these two, you know, we have this little grabber on the right and this one on the bottom with this like green outline. And literally all you do is you just pull this to the right. And
Magic.
It duplicates it.
Woohoo! Repeat Grid.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'll just zoom out a little bit. There we go. And there we go. And what's crazy is when I was like, no way does it go on the bottom. So then I started doing this and I was like, no way.
Yeah, blew Alex's mind with these features.
And that's not even, they haven't even seen the magic part yet.
Oh, okay,
They
here we
haven't
go.
seen the magic part yet.
We're going to do some more magic.
So the gutter here where the padding would lie, I can actually increase it by just hovering over here, and there's these little purple highlights, so I'm just going to hold Shift and increase them, and I can see a little number if I zoom in. I actually want this to be 30. And then this one I actually want to be like 40. So there we go. So there we go. Now we have this like amazing grid that we literally put maybe 45 seconds into.
Yeah.
And it like duplicated everything.
You got
like
to populate
magically.
the content very quickly.
So now I'm just going to center this. So I'm just going to bring this guy over here so that I can literally just like grab this, and then I'll just hold Shift to grab that background, and then I can just center it with this tool right here.
Perfect.
And then this is the magic part.
Okay, we're ready
When I
for
saw
magic
this,
now?
I was like, no way is this happening. So I had like this little asset folder that I prepared with just some images of beat cover art. So this is like the art that if I was the producer, I made a beat, you know, I want to show like a picture of like something cool, right?
Yeah.
All I have to do is, typically you would drag it, then you would mask it, and that'd be one, and then you do it for the other.
Yep.
All you really have to do here is you can literally, I have all of those selected by using the same keyboard shortcut, just Shift, and I can drag this to one of these squares, and I think if I did it right, it auto-populates them for all of them.
Let's see if we can do this magic.
Let's see if this is right.
Yay!
So that, I mean, when I saw that, I like almost fell out of my chair because that was amazing. So now this is populated. I mean, that was like maybe 12 seconds.
Yeah.
So that
You gotta have
quick.
like a magic word when you
Yeah.
do this though, like abracadabra. Yeah.
Abracadabra. I like that word too.
Adobe Cadabra.
Adobe Cadabra, Behance Cadabra.
Yeah, to mention Adobe Cadabra, I like that a lot. I think we should use that always.
So now it's populated, but what's really cool is I need to populate the people's faces now who produced it.
Yeah.
So now we're going to do the same thing for these little circles right here.
Perfect.
So I have just some producers that I have lined up. These guys are actually all designers, the people that I picked.
Nice.
So if you guys see your favorite designer, let me know. But I'm just going to drag, and I'll just let go on the first circle here.
Adobe Cadabra.
Voila. And they populated.
Nice. And that was so easy.
It was so easy.
Seconds.
And, now this looks like it's looking like a real web application.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool feature. And then another thing, this I think is a purple heart that's a cloud. And it's kind of clipped right now.
Yeah.
So if I just actually double click into it, I can actually adjust it. And then let go, and it's still masked perfectly.
It doesn't mess up with the other photos either.
Exactly. So I was super impressed when I saw that.
So you're never going back to any other program.
Yeah. No, I think I'm pretty sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
XD's pretty rad, and the XD team who are building this are also really rad. So I appreciate all the effort they're putting into it.
You did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'll tell Talon. Talon's on stream pretty often too.
So one of the things here is as I was thinking through the app, what happens when you hover over something. On some websites, you have this white opacity that comes up with some content on top of it. Mm-hmm. For me, I wanted the user just to dive straight into it. Just how someone on Behance can click right into it and see with their eyes. Yeah. Someone should just be able to click in here. So I want on every single one of these clip art pieces, I want someone to be able to play the actual beat from it.
Whoa, nice. Kind of like SoundCloud.
Exactly. So I'm just going to hit E, which is the shortcut for the ellipse tool, and I'll hold Shift to get this perfect circle. And I'll make it what is this? I'll make it 90 pixels by 90 pixels, and then I'm just going to center it by just clicking around. Oh, maybe I'll just do this for now. And then I'll just grab the same color, remove the border, and then now we can add a shape. I have the play button down here, so I can just go in, double click that, come out of here, and then just put my play button right on top of there. Just bring them up. It's very small, so I just gotta bring them up.
Copy, paste, and adjust.
Yep. There we go. So now we have that. Make the fill color white, and then from here I'm just eyeing it.
So Melissa Little had a question about why we would use XD if it's not exportable to something that's able to be used. So we have the ability here to pull out, inspect, specs rather. So specs are what you would send over to your development team, and it actually gives all the development details to your development team for them to be able to implement these designs very quickly. So it is exportable to a development team to be able to build it, but it's not exportable to HTML and CSS like a WYSIWYG editor, because you're not always creating a website. You might be designing a mobile app, you might be designing watch interfaces, and so the code base isn't always going to be one type of code, which is why you want to have the specs instead of exportable code, if that makes sense.
And I think I might be misreading this, but I'm 99% sure. I think today Zeppelin announced that they would support Adobe XD, it's actually a feature.
Yeah, so Adobe XD and Zeppelin actually had a partnership a little while ago, and so they work together now too, which is really great.
So I think you can export it too, right to Zeppelin, and that's what a lot of my developers would ask for.
Yeah, and Zeppelin's tool is very similar to what we have for specs in Adobe XD already, and so Zeppelin was a way to export designs into that development language for them to be able to develop. So we have that functionality in XD already, and I think it's super useful for when you want to hand it off to a development team.
So we added the little play button, just the same color as here. I'm just trying to keep things consistent. I want it kind of big and bold, so someone can hovering over this would just be like, oh, I want to listen to it play.
Yeah.
And then I added a shadow, because believe it or not, without a shadow, it almost looks like it's a piece of the clip art, basically.
Yes.
So I added that to show a user this is something you can interact with.
Gotcha.
So now,
can we show real quick,
Yeah.
there's some questions as to where you can find that export tool for specs. And so
Okay.
if you go to the icon in the top right,
right here,
if you click on that, you can see publish online. No,
I think I have to design it with an artboard, no?
Oh yeah, you're not using an artboard,
Yeah.
so that's why. Okay. So I can show it on my screen in just a little bit. But yeah, it's easy. You just want to press that button and it'll say export specs, basically.
There we go. I think I just did. I just drew an
perfect.
artboard over mine.
Yeah, so publish prototype is the way that you can get an interactive prototype. Publish design specs is how you get those specs for your development team. And then manage publish links means if you want to create different links for different prototypes to share different pieces of functionality, you can do that. So this is a really powerful tool, and you can do a lot of different export options that work for different ways of developing different types of software or different types of applications.
Wait. Oops. Okay, so now there's two things missing in my eyes from this page actually being done and being able to maybe be handed over to a developer. And that's the navigation, which we'll do. And then another thing is, if someone plays this, since this is music, how are they going to interact with the volume? How are they going to stop it? How, where are we going to do that? So I think Spotify, their web app, does an amazing job. When you play something, there's a little play bar that comes up at the bottom of their web app. So we're going to create that for this as well.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense, and you're pulling inspiration from a lot of similar types of products.
So this is this is like the preview of it, so you can see what kind of I already kind of did, but we can dive into the navigation now. So this logo is something that was very simple to create, just a gradient. I like the colors, and I just rounded rectangles and kind of moved stuff up and down. So all I'm going to do is I'll just place it in there.
So you created this icon in XD.
Yeah, this is vectorized.
Nice.
Yeah, so you can create logos in XD too.
Yeah.
So I'll just align it left, and then I already know the calculation for this, so I'm just going to move it over to the right 60 pixels because that'll be where my outer container lives.
Gotcha.
So I'll just shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's already centered, so that's the logo. And then another question I got a lot was like, how come because that is the actual official logo, how come the name's not there? Like, how come it doesn't say like TO Beats or whatever the music production app would be?
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of new, but like a lot of, with with mobile applications and stuff like that, you go to the URL, so the URL is the name. So you don't really need the name in my eyes. And I think a website that's doing really well that I see just has the symbol is the Noun Project. I use them a lot, and they just have the symbol. And I thought that was really cool because why have something there that people already know? Because they had to type it in the URL or something like that.
So your idea is they already know the name because they went to the website, and so to reiterate the name in the header is kind of redundant. Right. You can just have the icon.
You could have it. Yeah, there's no wrong or right, but just for this project, I just wanted it as simple as possible. So I thought no name on the left-hand side with the logo, just the symbol.
Yeah, I like the logo, so that makes sense to me. Yeah. I'm sold.
Sweet. So now I'll do the search bar. So the search bar is going to be simple. I'll just create a rectangle, kind of stretch it out here, and then I will just do a 4-pixel radius. I'm keeping things very consistent. So like this has 4 pixels border radius. This one does as well. I don't go from like 4 to 2 to 8 to 9.
Yeah, you don't want to have inconsistencies.
Right. And then to get the background of the search, I'll do the same thing I've been doing. So I grab the background of where it's laying, and then I just make it a little bit lighter so that you can see. I can actually use the same font and size as my button here, and I'll just do search.
Perfect.
And then I'll scoot that over. I'll just grab this and make it. Now I gotta make this actually readable because all text should be readable, so I'll do that. And then I have this little icon over here that I can just grab.
Cool.
And if you guys want me to show you guys how to create some of these icons, they're very easy, and I can create them from scratch in front of you guys.
Yeah, it might be nice to see you create an icon. Thomas was asking about what you said with the logo is vectorized, and he's asking if XD is a vector format. It is, and so everything you create here is scalable to whatever web size you need.
Yep. So now my search bar is done.
Awesome, yeah. Alejandra is also saying she wants to hear about icons from you and maybe see you create an icon. So
Let's do it.
If
so
you want to, okay, great.
Yeah,
We're
let's
going to
do
jump
this one right
into it.
here. So I have two different navigations. One for someone who's has not logged in, so they would see the discover and hear the world's music producers, the sign up, all that good stuff.
Yep.
And there's two navigational items: it's sign in and sign up. And then if you're in there, what do you see? You'll see home, explore, your user avatar, your name, and then you'll have this notification for messages.
Gotcha.
So what we'll do is we'll just recreate this icon, and I'll show you how close we can get to getting it almost identical. Without, just using it. So what I'll do here is, you can get this from anywhere. Sometimes I take screenshots of icons I see on the web that I like and I want to use.
Yeah.
And literally all I do is I'll zoom in. I created this, but I'll just zoom in. I'll hit the ellipse tool here, which is just E. I'll grab it, right? And then I'll put it over here. And a big trick for me was I'll try to get the shapes very the same, and I'll make it red, and I'll bring down the opacity so that I can see exactly what
how it's overlapping,
how precise it is. And then for here, we can use the pen tool, but to get more direct, if we round the corners of a rectangle and kind of bring those corners in, we can get that same effect.
Gotcha.
So,
and we got Gus here helping us out, because a lot of people are concerned about your power level right now.
Yeah.
But we're gonna plug you in, so we're gonna be good to go.
Okay. 31, yeah.
So Gus is here to save the day with that. Thank you all for pointing it out.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, man.
We're good to go.
That would suck
Got
if
the power.
it just turned off and we're like, what do we do now?
What happened? Yeah. Cool.
All right, so I just grabbed a rectangle. I'm just gonna make it by holding shift, and then all I'm gonna do is I'll just rotate it, if I can get that rotate tool, to match one of the corners. And then what I'll do here is I'll bring the corners in to where it feels kind of right.
Yeah, there are a lot of people saying, phew, we're relieved. The power's good.
And then
Thanks,
I can just bring this stuff in. So you see I'm just clicking points?
Yeah,
I can
so
just,
you're moving
I'm
it.
just gonna bring it in to match identically with this. And then our corner looks like it got messed up, but I think it did get messed up actually. So what I'll do is I can, there we go, I think we'll just do this. And we might have to reduce the roundness if it's too inconsistent, but I'm kind of winging it right now.
Yeah, you can also use the pen tool to draw your own shape if manipulating stuff doesn't end up working out.
Yeah, let's just try the pen tool. Let's scratch it.
Cool.
So here's the pen tool. So all I'm gonna do here is click, click, click,
Easy peasy.
click, and then I'll fill it with my same red so that I can get very precise.
Nice.
And then now I can kind of drag this wherever. And all I need to do here is on my fill, I think, do you know where I don't know how to grab the border radius to kind of bring it down.
Oh, so because you use the pen tool, there's no border radius applied to it.
Okay, well that's close enough then. And then I'll just do E right here. Bring this up just a hair.
Norval says pen tool to the rescue. Yep.
And then there we go. So now I have this like icon that's basically the same, except it's in red. So I'll just grab this guy. And then now I can actually just bring all the opacity, and the colors are different, but I'm just going to use this tool right here just to combine it. So now it's the same. And then if you want to get really fancy, you could make these the same color as the background, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it the good way, which I think would be to just grab it and do that. There we go. So now it took them out.
So you were using different tools there to combine and then to
just to bring out
remove.
the circles, yeah.
I will point out though, I think the circles are not evenly spaced out. Sorry to point it out.
No, that's good. That's good.
On the original one too, it looks like it was a little bit off, which is mine maybe.
Well, what's cool is you can just double click and go in and start grabbing them.
Nice.
Where's the distribute evenly one? Is that?
So yeah, it's one of those. It is the far right one of the left-hand side.
This one?
Nope. So over two to the left.
Over to this one.
Yeah. Oh, why is it not working properly?
Well, what we could do is, I've done this in the past, is this is the X and Y.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes if I want to get really precise, not even the distributing evenly helps, I might just kind of wing it. So that's, I might do like 7.4. You see how it kind of brings it in a lot closer? And I really dive into the math there, but that kind of looks good. On both ends as well. It's kind of centered within that.
Perfect.
So I think that's going to be good. And then we zoom out. good. So we didn't get it like 100% with the round corners, but that's typically how I would do that. And if this was like for a more intense project, then I might dive into Illustrator to get like the zoom in perfect.
Icon creation is really great in Illustrator. In XD you can also do it, but I know a lot of people have historically been creating icons in Illustrator, so it might be a better program just to work on the details and then bring in that SVG or that vector element into XD for the final design.
So now I'm just I'm going to bring in our two things, which is going to be...
So yeah, Maybelline was asking if you can build assets in Illustrator and then bring it into XD. You totally can, and I highly recommend it if you want to do it that way.
Let's go over here. And then, I don't know if you remember, but we went over 60 pixels from the edge.
We went over 60 pixels? Okay.
So I'm just going to do that for the same, so they're consistent. So I'll line it there, and then I'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Center that, center these two, so they're even. And then I'll probably just go like maybe 25, 30, 1, 2, 20 is good actually. So now we have our navigation for someone who's logged out and just getting to the website for the first time.
A guest, someone who just landed on this page who doesn't have notifications and isn't signed up.
Exactly. Sweet. So now we have the content there. We have this. I want to do something like really kind of fun. I think as a visual designer, like it's really fun just to go crazy sometimes.
Cool. Yeah. How are we gonna go crazy?
We're gonna go crazy. I don't know if this will look good, but we'll try it. I'm gonna make this a linear gradient.
Whoa.
And I'm just gonna make it go from left to right. And then what I'll do is to kind of bring out the colors, I will just grab some of the colors from our logo. You see how we have like kind of we already have a pre-made gradient?
Yeah.
That goes from there, so I might just grab a few just to showcase how that's gonna look, and it might make the application look a little bit better.
Oh, to clarify Maybelline's question, yes, you can open up an AI source file in XD. So an SVG that you would normally open in Illustrator can be opened up in XD instead.
So now that actually looks good. It's a little bit more eye-catching than our previous purple. But now these things are kind of like, they're like sticking out. It doesn't look really that good.
I like the gradient color, but yeah, we might need to adjust some of the elements.
Yeah, so I'll do the same thing here. I'll just grab it, and then I'll just make it a little lighter per each color. But sometimes maybe even like darker is fine. We'll see whatever looks best. So I like the light color. So what I can do just to speed up the process is I can ungroup all of them. So I can select all at once. And then all I'm going to do is I'll make them all white. Right? And then I just bring down the opacity to like 15. So that they're all kind of consistent.
Yeah, it kind of blends into the background color it's on top of.
Yeah, and then I might do something even a little bit more fancy where I add like a shadow behind it so it adds some depth to them. And I'll make the blur extreme so that it kind of... You can't see it, but it's actually the blur behind it is kind of messing with the background color. So it adds like gradients within gradients because there's a different color in front of it.
Yeah, different layering with the background color.
So that's how I would spice it up. And now we have like this purple that's kind of hard to see. So I might just go with our like lightest color as the text color here. So that's too light, but maybe something like that so it feels more consistent.
Yeah, that looks nice.
So that's just very quickly if you wanted to spice things up.
Yeah, and that's not too crazy. It ends up working out.
Yeah.
So it's worthwhile to go a little bit off the rails.
And now you can make things consistent. So now, I don't know yet how to, is there a copy styles here yet? Where I can grab the same gradient?
Not that I'm aware of. Maybe Paul has some insight into if you can copy, say, a gradient styling and apply it to another object. What I would do is I would just duplicate the object generally, unless you have a different shape that you want to apply it to. Then I'm not sure.
Or we can just do something quick. Just do like a linear gradient.
You can save a gradient as a swatch in the assets panel.
Gotcha.
Oh, really?
Okay.
One thing, and if you do a copy on an item, and then do a right click, in the right click menu there's paste appearance.
Oh,
So
perfect.
that'll sometimes work for things.
Oh, sweet. Let's try it. So I just did a right click, copy.
Yeah.
Let's do paste appearance. Perfect.
Yeah, so that worked out
that got
perfectly.
exactly
Paul saved the
what I
day.
wanted. Thank you,
so
Paul.
he mentioned you can either save the gradient as a swatch and then apply that swatch to other shapes, or you can right click and copy and then paste appearance to get the color or styling, apply it to another shape.
So now this is good. Like it grabbed the gradient, did exactly what I wanted, but the color seems a little too vibrant because it's a smaller shape. It's not as wide as our banner. So all I'm gonna do is just grab the fill and whoops.
So yeah, there are a couple people in chat, Tim, Peter, Leo, mentioning that you can save it as a symbol, you can save it to your palette. So there are a couple different ways of doing this, so I'm glad that we were able to figure it out live.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's what I did there, so that'll be my button. You could even like subtract it, it might look better, but it's hard to see the play button against.
It's not super visible.
Just keeping it white. So yeah, so now we have the navigation, we've kind of spiced up our header, we have the content that people would see with real clip art and users. So now the last thing that I would want to do for this application would be to add the music bar. So when someone actually plays this, can they adjust the volume?
Yeah.
Can they kind of get a better glimpse about what's going on, what they're listening to? Can they fast forward to a certain part of the beat?
And your inspiration here is SoundCloud, where they have the player bar on the bottom, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
And Alexander was asking if we check the chat. Yeah, I'm looking at the chat as we're working. I don't want to interrupt Alex too much, but when you have questions, I'm always asking Alex, so feel free to participate, give us advice, ask Alex lots of questions. We're here for you.
Sweet. Sweet. So yeah, so now I can just grab I've kind of made one already. So we have this navigation right here for the play button. So all I'll do is I'll just start by making a shape. This is my artboard, so I actually got to bring it down.
You're getting a lot of compliments, what I would call compliments, because Peter's saying it reminds him of Artio back in the day.
That's awesome.
And Leo says it reminds him of Noon Pacific, which also has a beautiful aesthetic.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome. Artio was a big, I actually like signed up.
Yeah, Artio was really cool. I loved the design on Artio.
It was beautiful. It's kind of them versus Spotify in the beginning.
It was for a little
and
while.
Then Spotify won.
Yeah, Peter's saying Artio is better than Spotify.
Cool. So all I did was just go out, grab my artboard to make it a little bigger, and then all I'm gonna do here is I would just make a square, and this is gonna be where when someone plays it, no matter what, as long as they're on something on web, whether it be a web app or a website, it'll show.
Nice.
So I'll just grab that same color, and then I want it to be a little different so the user sees. So I'll make it a little lighter, and then what I can do is I'll add a shadow. Sometimes with dark color schemes, you can add a shadow just to make whatever you're wanting to be viewed by your users kind of pop a little more.
Yeah, you want to make things pop that you want them to interact with.
So I'll bring this up, I'll blur it out a little bit, and then I'll just bring this down.
So Lars is asking if we're showing any hover effects, and yes, the first element there, the play button's only appearing when you hover over it, so we're considering hovering effects too.
Yeah, so this would be a hover effect. Something else, I would probably do is, let's say that this button was being hovered, I would actually like increase it 2 pixels on a hover, so it like does that whole little like.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
so that's
cool.
what I would do, and then I would increase the box shadow as well. So it would go from 12% to like.
Can we hear the
maybe-
sound effects again though? It's like
it'd be like.
it's like light wind blowing.
Yeah, so that would be the hover effect for like the sign up button. Maybe the blur wouldn't be as intense, but that's kind of the idea.
I think that's a good way of doing it. Yeah.
Very
Increasing
subtle.
it. Yeah.
Very subtle. And then for the hover effect on the clip art, when you would want to actually hear the music producer's beat, that would play on every single one. So that play button would occur on every one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also very effective and isn't like super fancy. Is like the cursor would show where the cursor where it shows you can click into that object.
Yeah.
It's like a web. It's the pointer, right?
So it changes the pointer from a pointer to a clickable like finger element, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that would be for the user's avatar, their name, and also the song or the beat that they made. And then these would also be clickable. So I actually have an example. I might have an example. But basically, if you did sign up, obviously you're not signed up here, but if you did and you liked it,
we would change that heart to maybe a little bit bigger and the color again.
Yep, and you
we'll
can
do
just-
that sound effect.
Yeah, exactly. And then it might be like that, right? Like you would show like that you liked it or commented or whatever you did.
Very similar to Dribble or other.
Very. Yeah, I think
Behance.
subtle is key, especially for a web app. So that's what we would do. And then for here, I want to start with like something fun, so I would show like the progress bar of the beat. So I would just draw this rectangle, make the radius like 100 so it's rounded, and then remove the border. I probably want to make it like 4 pixels because we also have to have the play button on top of that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to learn the trick that we just learned about. I'm just going to copy here, and I'm just going to paste style or paste appearance.
Paste appearance to get that same gradient
there we go.
everywhere.
That's the same one I wanted.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to round all those corners to 100, so now it's like this like long pill.
Yeah,
I feel.
I like it. It showcases the gradient really well.
Right, and then I will shorten this, and then what I'll do is I'll just shift, what am I doing? Option shift to grab it, and I think I duplicated it. And I will just show basically the remainder of the time that's left on that beat.
Gotcha.
And the way I'll do that is just go to my fills, go back to solid color, click here, and then just make this like that.
A light gray background.
Yeah, just to show, and I might decrease it so that someone viewing this application, I would never put like the gradient all the way to where there's like 1 second left, because then they probably wouldn't see that the back there should be this.
Yeah,
like,
you want to be able to give context as to what
exactly.
they're looking at.
So that's probably how I would like deliver it, and then I'm just hitting the time, and then the time is like 0, 0. I'll do the same thing where I grab it. It doesn't need to be super bright, but they need to see, when the time starts.
Yeah, so we have a question from Content Studio. They said they joined late, and he's wondering how far you are into your wireframe, and he's wondering if this is just a landing page, and he's wondering how your prototype's going to function at the end of day 3.
Yeah, so the way it'll function is you'll be able to actually click into the beat and see what modal pops up, see what happens when you click on the actual beat. You'll be able to click into the user's avatar as well, so that this is kind of like a full functioning app other than some screens that will
Full
be
functioning
missing.
website, yeah. Yeah. So this is pretty far into the wireframe. Alex mentioned in the beginning of the show he doesn't normally do wireframes by hand sketching them. He usually jumps straight into XD to do his wireframes. And so he started blocking out this content, but because XD is so easy to use, he was able to plug in these photos really quickly and really get pretty far pretty quickly.
So this is a little bright for me, so I'm just going to bring down the opacity. But now we have our bar, our progress bar. So if someone clicks it, they'll be able to see that, they're a minute 13 to the beat.
Yep, minute 13, listening to the song.
So these are pre-created icons as well, so I can just grab these and just put those on top of here.
Yeah, so there are website resources where you can find icons for free, or you can build your own.
I actually got these two from an icon set, and then I believe I made these guys.
Nice.
So yeah, icon sets can save you time. And I find with a lot of designers, they kind of have their icon set.
Yeah.
Like they have their set of icons that they use for everything.
Yeah, I know that I use Google Icons pretty often.
Oh, nice.
There's the Noun project. There's a bunch of resources on Behance of people who have created their own icon sets that you can download. So really, you can find them everywhere.
So now I'm just going to go in, I will put this here, and then I can actually just copy this shape, center this.
So now we're working on the volume.
The volume bar, yeah. So on
Nice.
this bar, you should be able to adjust where you are on the actual beat. You should be able to play it, skip it, see the producer again, and then adjust the sound.
Gotcha. And just as a quick reminder, we have about 20 minutes left to submit your challenges. So please participate. Hopefully you've been following along and learning a lot from Alex about XD and how easy it is to get started. And we're looking forward to seeing those later today.
So there's that, and then I can just copy and paste, bring down the width.
So we're going to copy the gradient again.
Just paste appearance.
Oh,
Ooh.
we have the bar
Whoops.
selected.
There we go.
Perfect.
Okay, so now we have the volume, our play, Also, I noticed on Spotify, when you hover over the progress bar, there's a little grabber that you can get. So we'll make that real quick from scratch by just doing an ellipse tool. I'll make it white. We won't have a border here, but what we'll do is we'll have like a nice little shadow.
Yep, so it feels like it's on top of the elements.
Yeah, there we go. But this is too big, so we'll make it 10 pixels by 10 pixels.
Content Studio is asking, since he can't stay much longer, is there somewhere he can see the finished prototype? Yes, all these videos are going to be on YouTube and on Behance, so you can feel free to check out past videos. The current ones, when they're finished recording, we have all those available for you to watch whenever you'd like to.
Sweet, so there's that. So now if someone hovers, they can adjust it. That's what they would use to grab it.
Yeah, if you're like me and I like skipping through songs to see if I like the beat.
Yeah, exactly. So then I just copied and pasted that. I'll bring her up, and I'm going to group it. And then what I'm going to do here is, because I want to emphasize, if you clicked on the users, if you were listening to the sound, it probably wouldn't make sense to have it the same size. So I'm actually going to increase the size of, whoops, I should probably make it, I do this little link so that it's linked up perfectly.
I think it's grouped in that spot.
There we go. Oh, is it grouped in that circle? I don't know why the oval is doing that, but I can adjust that by just doing like 48 and then maybe this will fix it.
Yep, so if you want to resize the element, you can either click and drag the surrounding bounding box, or you can type in actual pixel dimensions in the properties bar.
So I'll make that extremely light. And then I'll make this a little bit lighter as well.
So it's a little bit more legible in the lighter background color.
Right, so now they can see, okay, you know, this is who I'm listening to at this time, and not be confused about it. So that's how I would do it. And then a line, you know, I wouldn't, this is kind of like my inner container where the beats lay, but because I have an outer container for here, it's okay to go out of it for here.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because it's a different element on the page.
Different element on the page, correct. So I'm just going to group these together, and then I can do the same thing for here. And what that also does is it allows for more breathing room for these slides. You know, if this is a little bit shorter, if this is on a smaller laptop, these might be a little too close.
Yep, so it'll resize depending on the size of your screen. I want to leave breathing room for larger screen sizes.
Yep. So that's it. So now we kind of went into
this is so quick.
What we wanted. This is something where I would sit with the developer at this point, and they would actually be able to start working on some aspects of it. A lot of them, they would probably need more direction from me.
Yeah.
But at least they would be able to get started, you know.
Yeah, this is awesome. So this only took you less than a day, less than a 2-hour day to put together.
Yeah.
Shows how quick XD is with creating all this stuff. And so we've created what I think is a landing page. And at the start of the day, you showed us what you wanted the final product to be based on what you had done in the past.
Yeah.
Maybe we can review how this turned out compared to what you started with.
So this is what I started with. This is with me having a little bit more time and thinking through stuff. We can still add our navigation, which is going to be the signed-in navigation, and we can still have our sign up.
Oh yeah. So we have a sign up screen for when you click sign up.
So when you're here, like when you want to get started, whether you click that button or you click this button, this is a screen that we can create too. And the idea here is that it would just mask over this screen in an all black, and I can do that real quick. So it would probably just be like this shape over here. We'd have a very similar black, maybe a little bit darker because we would need to opacitize it a little bit so you can see the content. And then all we would have here is our sign up. So that would pop up, and that's how you would actually sign up for an account.
It looks like your rectangle might have gotten dragged onto this artboard in the corner here.
Oh yeah, there we go, good call.
No problem.
So that's kind of how we would sign up, and we can dive into these elements, and we only have a few minutes left. But
yeah, we have 15 minutes before the challenge deadline, so please get your challenges in. So yeah, it's up to you, Alex, what you want to do next, but we still have 15 minutes. We can either do the signed in navigation or the sign up module. Maybe chat, you want to let us know which you'd prefer to see?
Yeah. What do you guys want to see as far as either the signed in navigation or the sign up? I think the sign up is a little bit funner.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different than what we have been
I
doing.
think a lot of startups, they have a sign up flow. You know what I mean? So like how do you have one that's accurate?
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just do that. So what I'll start with here is, I'll use this for reference, but I'll just start with my square.
So yeah, in terms of design process, you might have a screenshot of a different application, similar sign-up flow that you're inspired by. You might bring it in here so you can look at it and reference it while you're working.
Well, there's a lot of references here. Like this is when you're signing up, right? So how do you sign up? You can sign up here with an email. You can sign up with Facebook, or you can sign up with Twitter.
Yeah.
And then there's also stuff to think about, like what if they have an account? We got to show that somewhere on this modal.
Yeah, maybe they clicked the wrong button, and you want to make sure that you can still be able to log in even if you accidentally got to the sign up screen. So that's important.
Yeah, so that's kind of my thought process there. I'll round the corners, and then I think it's always kind of important. I see with a lot of social media stuff, like kind of just entice the user to feel like you're welcoming them in, basically. So that's why it says welcome to DO Beats, which is kind of like our fake music app.
And it seems like everyone wanted to do the sign up flow anyway, so
awesome.
we picked correctly.
Perfect.
Thanks,
So,
chat, for letting us know.
Yeah, I just type it from scratch. So welcome to DO Beats, and then what I'll do here is let's see if this works on text. But if I copy and then paste appearance, works on text too. So I can
Nice.
do the same thing. That's actually really time consuming. I mean, yeah, it is time consuming having to get all those attributes the same.
Yeah,
So
but there's
that
also
saves.
the asset panel, which I don't know, Alex, if you've played around with too much, but you can actually save your character styles
Oh, wow.
and save colors and then
Really?
apply them to different elements in the page.
Wow.
So if you were to adjust, say, that character style, it would adjust that character style on all your artboards.
Wow. Okay.
So
well, I'll have
there's
to,
more
like, dive
features
into
to
this,
figure
yeah.
out, yeah.
So then, and this is my little tagline too. And we do actually have it here. Discover the world's music producers. We have it here as well. We just have the welcome as the more predominant text. So I'll just click in here, copy, and then paste appearance, and then just center this stuff. Sweet. And then we have our logo here that I created in XD. Just hit command bracket to bring it forward, or maybe it's on a different artboard, so I have to actually paste it, and then I can center all of these. And then the way that I do my input fields are very similar to like the search bar.
Cool.
So just kind of like rounded corners, making sure that the width feels good. I think the most important part of a sign-up flow is just letting the user easily input stuff or easily pick and choose how they want to sign up.
Yep. So either easy button or type in things with input fields.
And colors are important too. Like if I were to just have that border, right, in the white, it could get overwhelming if I had like our call to action as well, and the sign up with Facebook and Twitter. So I'm very precise on kind of picking like a very low color, like this gray right here. It's actually like a bluish gray. You can see by the palette over here. And then it looks like our sizing is off, so I'll just use my new one. So it's 305. Align it left, and then here. And then here I can just get the same thing. Come here. Bring it down just a bit. And create a password. Sweet. And then I'm just going to bring the character stuff in just a little bit so it's a little bit more easier to read. I'll line it left and then go over 10 pixels. And then for here, this would obviously be your email it might read, but I'm just going to input so that a developer would know actually how that state would feel.
Great. And I'm starting to pull up some of the challenge submissions, so don't forget, it's about 11 minutes left. Please submit them if you haven't already. And you have a chance to win a subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud and be showcased. So hopefully you've been learning, following along, and creating your own designs as we go.
Sweet. And then I have this right here, this stuff. So yeah, so now we have our sign-up flow that I just showed you guys how I created. So if you guys have any questions on that, let me know.
Yeah, so there might be some people who don't want to enter in their information, they might click on one of those buttons.
Yeah.
So is there a screen that would pop up after they say click sign up with Facebook or sign up with Twitter?
Yeah, typically what'll happen is in this same dialogue where we had the overlay. I can recreate it, but we would have like this overlay. If they were to click something like sign up with Twitter or Facebook, there's like a code snippet that developers usually use when they code.
Gotcha.
Where it just kind of redirects them into, like, they would use the modal, like, and it would just bring up a little pop-up that would allow the user to say authorize this application to use it via
Gotcha.
Facebook or Twitter, and then they would have an account.
Perfect. Yeah. So we don't need to design that because that's something that we don't have any control over.
Yeah.
And so that would be something automated and automatically populated based on the third-party application that you're tying into.
Yeah.
Cool. A lot of people are saying this is looking amazing. I can't help but agree.
Thank you.
This was put together so quickly. And so maybe you can talk a little bit about how you might refine this at this point, or
Yeah.
what else you might add to this page.
Yeah. I think adding to this page, maybe the navigation, maybe not design, but like the navigation, maybe it might be cool to have like also like an about, so that if this is a new like startup, right, you might, and you're a music producer, you might want to get a little bit of context about what this application does, maybe what files it supports. So maybe an about page in the navigation would be really cool to do if we had more time. Discover the world's music producers. I think that's good. I wouldn't change too much about that. Maybe the only thing that I could think of is like, if you know, this is very hard to do, but if you like found like the perfect image to like mask it with, you know, bring the opacity down, and like if you can imagine like something like that where it's just like this, that would maybe be something that I would dive into more. This part would all stay the same though. For the most part, I've kind of thought through like what features should be on this application. I think plays, comments, and likes are like the only things that need to be there. And then for this, the play bar, I would probably just have maybe like maybe it might be a cool feature like play top 10 or something.
Yeah, that'd be
Or,
really
like,
cool.
top 10 like beats. That way you're just chilling and you're like, let's listen.
Let's listen to the best right away.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah.
So maybe we can talk a little bit now. We have about 7 minutes left before the challenge deadline. Get those in. But let's talk about what we're going to be doing tomorrow and for day 3 with this application.
Yeah, so I work with a lot of YC companies, and YC, if you guys don't know, is an incubator here in San Francisco, where Airbnb went when they were young, Dropbox. When they first had the idea, they went and pitched to this small like elite group, and they gave them $120,000 in funding, and they were able to just work on their startup for the summer.
So it's an investment group.
It's an investment firm. And I started helping a lot of people in there, and they were just such great people because these are top entrepreneurs from around the world, and it doesn't matter what age they are. And I've helped so many of them, and so a lot of them need help with their landing page.
Gotcha.
And the landing page, what that's supposed to do is that's supposed to convert a user or inform them about your product. So for this product, I wouldn't typically have a landing page, but because I have so many landing pages on my portfolio, and I do so many landing pages for separate companies, and I know if you're a designer, you probably do a lot of landing pages. We're gonna do a very like fun, really beautiful long landing page that's gonna kind of pitch TO Beats to
a
the
potential
world.
investor?
To the world, basically.
Okay,
If an
to the
investor,
world.
an investor can go on there and learn what it's about and be like, oh wow, this is a new startup. I want to get involved.
Yeah.
Or users who make beats for a living or whatever can say, wow, I want to put my portfolio on here. You know, it's really to sell the user on why they should be using this.
So you're kind of doing a bit of business work here
Yeah.
with helping to pitch an idea and put together the business plan of like why someone would care about this product.
Right.
That's really cool. We're getting the full-fledged thing here.
Yeah.
We can also possibly dig into some prototyping or design spec features in
Yeah.
XD, so maybe that's something that we can pull up with these pages we're putting together.
Yes. We probably can link up the play stuff to actually like animate when someone hits play.
Wow.
So the play bar comes up.
Yeah.
Some of the hover effects we can actually synchronize, so that those are good. So we'll dive into those for sure.
Yeah, there's some new features in XD that were released not too long ago, such as overlays, fixed elements. So those will be fun things to play around with when you're creating prototypes. Have you played with the prototype feature?
I have
on
not
XD?
yet. I've seen some videos on YouTube and it looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to try it out then and do it live and see how easy it is to start prototyping in XD. And have you looked at the design specs feature at all?
No, I have not.
Do you want to maybe dig into that
Yeah,
real quick
let's
to
do
see
it.
how
Let's
this
do
page
it.
would turn out?
Yeah, so do I just go back to my artboard?
So if you just select that artboard
Okay.
and then press that button, Publish Design Specs.
Okay.
So open public link is that, or create public link is that button right there. So once
Okay.
you create that link, it'll do the current version of your design as a design spec link.
Wow.
And so you're able
So I can
to,
click this button, right?
yeah, so if you click that, it'll open it up for you. And this is the link that you would send to your development team so that they can look at
Wow.
these elements. And it's very similar to programs like, say, Zeppelin.
Wow. Yeah, this is cool.
And so
Mm,
if you hover over different elements or click on different elements in this page, it'll pull up the panel on the right hand
Wow,
side and
that's
show you
cool.
all the different elements like the colors, the sizing, different hex codes. You can add notes about different things. You can also pull content like text from different elements.
Wow, this is impressive.
Right, so Alex has not seen this before, so you're getting a sneak peek into what it's like to see someone play with this for the first time.
Yeah, this is really cool.
So yeah, Alex, does this look like what you would want as a developer to know how to build a
Yeah.
design like this?
Yeah, because you do need these things. Like, you need to know just how Vedic a new bold. And instead of, like, typically you would actually have to, like, click into this to see what this is.
Within
This-
a parent program,
Yeah,
yeah. And a
this is-
developer might not be familiar with that program.
Yeah, this actually feels very similar to Zeppelin. So I'm sure, like, you could pick this up very fast as well.
Yeah. So this is an easy way to hand out links. And you can do different versions of your prototype and create different links or update your link depending on if you updated
Oh, wow,
your
you
design.
can copy color, too. So if I, like, needed, like, that specific, like, white or whatever, I just click it and it copies it. So if I'm a developer,
I actually didn't even know that. That's
I can
awesome.
just paste it into my CSS right then and there. That's really cool.
Yeah, so if you click on the whole artboard again, does it pull up all the colors in the whole artboard?
I think when I clicked, I don't know how I clicked that last time, how I brought that up. Oh yeah, there we
Yeah,
go.
so if you click on the whole artboard, it gives you all the different character styles, all the different type styling for
The
your
screen details, so the
layout.
viewport size is really cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
anything you would ever need as a developer.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So that's how you publish design specs, and maybe we can play around with that a little bit more.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a very powerful tool. And then prototyping, you haven't done in XD either, and so
I've
in the-
seen some stuff though.
yeah, so in the top left, all you need to do is change from design to prototype with these tabs right here to change what you're doing with this design. And so it gives you a little intro animation as to how you
Wow.
tie together different screens, how you tie together different elements.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think if I just,
And so it looks like it wants Alex to create multiple artboards because he hasn't been using artboards with his designs, which is fine.
well, here we go. I think if I just move these out of the way and then actually just select this artboard. And I'm learning this all on spot, by the way.
Yeah, so Alex is new to XD and he's showcasing how easy it is to learn it. So he's duplicated an artboard here now, and now he can map together some of these things. So maybe you don't show the hover effect until the second artboard.
Yeah, so this is artboard 2. We want it to like dissolve is fine, ease in and out, and then like 4 seconds is good. So yeah, and then we just hit play.
So yeah, you can play around with it.
I think that's
I think you need to have an element that you want to click on rather than the whole artboard though. So why don't you go into your artboard, click on,
Oh, I know what we can do. We can delete this here, and
Mm-hmm.
then when you click here on anything, basically, we'll
so you want to
bring-
click and drag it to the second artboard, yeah.
There we go. There we go. And then we just I think transition's good, right?
Transition. Maybe you want to have it fade in so we can see that change happen.
Doesn't look like there's an option for fade in. Just push left or slide.
All right, so
Dissolve is fine. So
dissolve
just
is
play?
perfect, yeah. So if you click here,
Oh,
it
wow.
has that button appear.
That's
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, and we also have overlays now too. So you created the sign-in flow. We could quickly map that together, and maybe that's something that we play around with tomorrow because we only
Yeah.
have about 45 seconds left for the challenge submissions. So please get it in if you haven't gotten it in already. I'm pulling these up as we're speaking. It looks like we have quite a few submitted, which is awesome. So thank you for participating. And Alex, maybe maybe you recap what we
Yeah.
did today in the last couple seconds we have here.
Yeah, so what we did today was we just built out a web application for music producers. Just a small idea I had, but basically, if you can imagine a baby between SoundCloud and Dribbble, that's what we created today. So we showcased what a user would see if they weren't signed in, and we also showcased some of the elements that would happen on click, on hover, and we played around with some visual stuff with the call to action banner.
Yeah, and Alex is new to XD, so he's using it now today. But when did you start playing around with XD?
A few days ago, I think on Sunday is when I started.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So it shows how easy it is to learn this software if he's already building such beautiful things after just picking it up on Sunday. Great, so I think I have everyone up. Thank you again for participating. Thanks for submitting for this challenge. Again, you guys were working on creating a travel blog landing page along with us, and there was a UI kit provided. And we have a lot of different lovely designs. The first up is Umerb, who created this beautiful visit to Paris. And so Alex, if you'd like to give some feedback on these designs, we'd love to hear your impression of what people have been able to do in XD.
That one's awesome. That one's cool.
Yeah.
I like did you guys provide the photos as well?
So I think there were some photos maybe in the UI kit.
Okay.
So if we look back at the challenge, this is what they were given as a prompt. So you wanted to create and share a landing page for a travel blog web experience. And so this was the UI kit we provided on Behance. It's just so Alex is aware of what we're working with. And so we have a bunch of different layouts. We have a style guide. And so they have some examples and UI elements. And this is what they were using as inspiration. And so if we go back to the submissions, this is my first visit to Paris.
I see what they were trying to do when it says my first visit to Paris, just right under the bridge. That's kind of creative.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. Yeah, the text right down here. And it looks like we have pagination on the bottom left. So
It's always good.
Yeah. Next we have Celine with Celine Travel, and this is her landing page. We have a lot of different stuff on this page. So we have the header here where you can start travel with us.
Yep.
We have a couple different navigation elements. It looks like trowel maybe was misspelled and lowercase. So
Also, I'm confused. Yeah, just the lowercase part because it's not consistent.
yeah, it might have been a mistake, but it looks like I like that we have different pages highlighted here in navigation. We have a brand, Celine Travel, with the $sign. And us is also not capitalized, so I know that there's no text correct or spelling check in XD, but it's always good to go through and double check that everything you have on the page makes sense. But I do like the header image and the gradient on top
I
of
like
it.
the scroller thing. I think that's powerful.
The scroll
Just-
arrow here?
Even if it's animated, just to go up and down.
Yeah, nice. Then we have, it looks like some articles down here about travel. So we have a header, description text, a date, and a link to read more. I can tell it's a link by the different colors, so I think that's successful. The rounded corners, it looks like there's rounded corners on all the elements, which is really nice. And we even have a footer down here with some analytics around the countries visited, miles traveled, days traveling, stories written. I actually just did a road trip across the country, and so I've been traveling a lot lately, and I think that these travel sites are really inspirational to me. I love traveling. So good job, Celine. Next up is Andrian with a travel blog. I like this photo.
I do like the photo. I think the color is good too. The light blue, it looks like they grabbed the blue from like a piece of the photo.
Yeah, it looks like the color palette was picked from the photo, which is really nice.
That's always cool.
So you're keeping the colors consistent across the whole page. What do you think of the overlay header?
I might have used a black overlay and then just brought that down to like 5%. I think the photo is already so light that the white on top of that is, you can see more of the overlay.
Gotcha, so you want a bit more contrast with the
Yeah.
darker overlay element. Yeah, I think that would work. I think it's still legible, but yeah, especially when you have some elements like this wing interfering with the gallery text, it can be a little bit hard to read.
Yeah.
I like the ghost button is what I call it, where you have just an outline and no background color for a button, but I think it could be a little bit tighter around the text, because sign in looks like it's kind of floating in here, but it looks like it's the same size as a subscribe, which is maybe why it's that size. But yeah, overall, I like the layout here. I think it's a really nice photo. I like travel blog with travel being bold.
Yeah, like very good direction-wise. I think I like this one.
Yeah. So thank you, Andrienne. Next up, we have Trisha. Stories of a fictional writer. This is interesting.
Wow, yeah,
So it looks like we have this header image where we have different places on a map. We're focused on India, but we have Russia, China, Sri Lanka, Africa, and Antarctica. I wish I could go to all those places.
Yeah.
And what do you think of this cute little icon up here? We have the globe in like a map icon.
Oh, that's cool. That's unique.
Yeah. I like the tagline, Stories of a Fictional Writer. And it looks like we have some text here. So, see the world through my eyes, through the Himalayan ranges to the Great Barrier Reef. Join me on my adventure and get a peek right from where you're sitting. Let's get the adrenaline flowing. Nice. We have navigation and links on the bottom right. I think the image is really, really dark, and so the only feedback I would perhaps give is it looks like you might have wanted users to be able to scroll around the globe and click on different elements. It might be nice to have like maybe a gradient background color here with the globe. Maybe have it pop a little bit more and maybe not just have black and white, maybe add some more colors either in the link colors or in your iconography. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I think the black is definitely extremely like dominant.
Yeah.
As far as the first thing you see. So maybe having that earth like subtracted from the background and then putting the lighter background would do the trick.
Yeah, but I like the idea of going around the globe and clicking different locations. I think that's really cool. And I love the icon. So thank you, Trisha. Next up is Naveen with Landscaper. So it looks like we have 2 pages here. Let's see if I can figure out where we can click. I can't figure it out. Oh, we can click on the second pagination under the header image.
And it works?
Let's see. We click on this.
Yeah, it does. There's just the text below it. Looks like it changes.
Oh yeah, so the text below we can change from history to features. Good job using Adobe XD functionality here. So yeah, we have the Chimney Bluff State Park. I think this photo is pretty dark.
Yeah. Although I do like the top left of the photo where you have like the sun coming in. That gradient is really cool.
So the gradient could have been pulled maybe into your layout.
Exactly.
So it's also a little bit hard to read Landscaper in the icon. There might need a little bit more breathing room here because the icon for Landscaper is right beside the R in Landscaper. So you might want to move it over like 10 pixels using Shift Arrow to give it a bit more breathing room. And maybe line it up with the text below, history, so it feels like it's all one page. But yeah, I think this is really neat. The arrows show me that I can scroll through different images, possibly. And this overlay background for the text could probably be a little bit lighter, just to bring the contrast up a little bit more for the legibility. But I like what you're doing here. We have the navigation in the top right. I feel like you're on the right path here. Good job, Naveen. Joy is next with Shay.
I like the font.
Katoon. Shaycation. Shaycation. That text is a little hard to read, but I like the style.
That feels very like travel blogish though.
Yeah?
Like, with that font, the welcome, and then you kind of have like travel photos.
So right away you get travel.
Yeah, right away I got travel.
Nice.
I like the navigation. It's clean, simple. Oh, they can scroll too?
Yeah, so you can scroll and it looks like we have a sticky header, so good job using that feature.
Yeah, that's clean.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff on here. So we have welcome, we have some photos at the top with a little description. Apparently this is a character from Pretty Little Liars. That's cool. And I love this typeface. I love how it interacts with the other type around it. I think that's really successful. It feels like handwritten, like you're reading someone's personal note and diary about travel.
Yeah.
I like that.
Especially when you think of like travel, you think of like those old maps. That kind of gives me that feel. With the type.
Yeah, old school maps that you're looking at while you're traveling. I like the background color to break up the different sections too. So we have this like peachy color. And you've used that peach color throughout, and we have this nice blue gradient. I'm glad people are getting behind the gradients.
I like how they chose to put, they could have easily left that box white.
Yeah.
They chose to make it that color. I think that's cool.
Yeah. So Joy is doing a good job here. I like the bottom footer too, and I like the consistency with the logo. I think this is really successful. Good job, Joy. Next up, we have Timo. Navigation works, travel me. Gotcha. So I think this is a note for us, navigation works, so we can click on the navigation here.
Yeah.
Let me double check that we didn't miss anything. No, great. So travel me with this nice little leaf icon.
Nice.
I like this photo.
I see what they were trying to do with the text too, by kind of chopping out.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that until you pointed out. So the W is being cut off by the photo.
It kind of feels with the font too. It feels very Apple-y.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there could be a little bit more breathing room at the top. So I would even push down the welcome and photo a little bit more from the top navigation, because Travel Me is pretty tight with the top of the photo here. But I love the style of the cut off W. I like Travel Me being in the top left. But again, I think space is really important in design to let people breathe and kind of focus on different elements. So we can scroll too. Oh, so when we scroll, the Travel Me becomes this interesting shape here.
That's cool. I've seen that.
Yeah?
That's nice.
Nice. So it looks like, we have these nice little cut off text elements down below too, so we're consistent with that. Top posts. Maybe repeat grid was used with some of these elements.
Maybe. They look consistent.
We got a newsletter.
I like that layout where you have the image to the left content, and then you switch it right below it where you have the image to the right content.
Yeah, so we have the image on the left, text on the right, then image on the right, text on the left. I definitely see that in a lot of places.
Yeah.
I love Adobe Cadabra on the bottom.
Wow, they were listening.
Yeah. This is great. And so navigation works. Let's click on navigation to see what happens. Oh, wow. So we have it come in from the top over the elements on the page, and we have navigation, contact information, and social media links. What do you think of the style of the navigation here?
I think that's cool. I think, that you can add a lot more. Imagine if all that was on the navigation, like on the homepage, it would be very busy.
Yeah,
So I think they did a good job of getting more content down by having that attribute.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. It's a good point that with all the previous pages we've been looking at, navigation has been on the top right and it's taken up space, but the fact that it's hidden behind here is kind of nice to showcase the photos, because travel is a lot about photos to showcase different places you might want to visit.
I like this one.
Okay, so Trisha mentioned she had 4 more screens. I want to make sure that we get to see all those screens. So I'm going to jump back to Trisha's real quick.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so it looks like we have a login screen, so I'm going to click on this. Oh, wow, that's cool and clean. So it comes in from the right-hand side, and we have the ability to do an email, a username, password, or continue with Google. And it looks like we can click on continue with Google, so I'm going to do that. Nice, and we have a welcome screen. I'm not sure what to do from here. It looks like it's just giving you a prompt.
Yeah.
And if you click, it brings you back to the home page.
Was there any other clickable elements?
There was one other. It looks like if we click on India. Oh, wow. So we have a whole India page. I'm sorry for missing this, Trisha. Thank you for pointing it out to me. So India has this nice header image. I think this is super successful with the
I like that better
box.
than the world.
Yeah.
I think that should have been the hero.
Okay, so you're saying we should jump straight into content, maybe.
Well, no, I just think that's very visual. I like that. I love that.
Yeah.
Especially the font. If they did like that too.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
All right, so we like this page a lot. We have different sections in here, so we can change the content below. But yeah, I think this image is very successful. I think this looks really nice. Good job, Trisha. Let me know if I missed anyone else's screens. I'm happy to go back, and we have time, so we'll probably go back after going through everyone's. But for now, we're gonna go, next to NS.
I like that one.
This is a really nice photo. This is really clean.
I think I like that one.
Yeah, you think you like this one? Well, we have a couple more, but this one looks really nice and
I
really
think
clean.
it says 1 of 3, right? We can scroll
Yeah,
down.
so we can scroll possibly. Let's see. Nope, no scrolling, but we can click on something. So looks like we can click on search.
Okay.
Let's click on search. Oh, cool. So we have the search bar just appear. That's pretty nice. And then we can click on this element on the bottom. Oh, wow. That's so neat. I like the transitions going on here. It really helps showcase like how you would navigate within this website. This is really, really
That's
cool.
clean.
Really clean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The white background after having the big header on the homepage is a nice contrast too. So when you dig in, you're focusing more on the text, whereas with the homepage, you're focusing on the photo.
He's saying this one is by one of our previous winners.
Oh, nice. That makes sense. You're good at what you do. So, and has won in the past, and it showcases what the design skills you have.
You can play more than twice?
You can participate more than twice.
That's cool.
Yep. But winning Adobe Creative Cloud is a year subscription, so you might have already won the subscription in the past.
It's practice for him.
Yeah, practice, yeah, and you could possibly be showcased again, so that's nice. Mars is next by Claire. Follow me on Mars. This is an interesting photo. It looks a little pixelated, so
I like the concept of the photo.
yeah, I like the concept a
It
lot.
feels like Mars, especially you got an astronaut, you have the red rock stuff at the bottom.
Yeah, this reminds me of like my road trip through Utah. Utah looks a lot like Mars in its landscape. So we can click on a couple different things. We have 16 pages here.
Wow.
That's crazy. You put a lot of effort into this, Claire, so thank you. Let's click on Follow Me on Mars. Whoa.
That's cool.
This is very psychedelic, a lot going on. I like the idea of having navigation through different photos, but there's a lot going on this page. I think the background image might be taking away from the design a little bit. Because you have so many beautiful photos on top of your design, it might be better just to showcase the photos and have a pretty plain background. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I think they could have just left that photo of Mars, right, and just have, I think this stuff is cool, like the other planets, and
Yeah, the other images going on?
but that background photo is very hard to the eye, I'd say.
Yeah, okay, so we can click on this shot to change the image.
That's cool. Definitely the features are cool. Like the
Yeah,
interactions.
there's a
are-
lot of interaction going on, so you've done a good job there. So we're on page 2. Let's go to Galaxy Portfolio. Oh my goodness, I don't know what I did there. Galaxy Portfolio. Okay, is this page with a lot of circles going on. This is a lot. I think there needs to be a little bit more structure on this page. I think that the idea of planets being on the page is really nice, but I don't know what to focus on when I'm looking at this page, and that's the only piece of feedback I have here. But I like all the photos you've chosen. I think they're really neat. I just want to be able to see them a bit more clearly.
I'd agree with you 100%.
Yeah, so if we go back again, we have stories. Okay, so we seem to have a very similar format for a lot of these pages too. So it might be good to have a little bit of a difference in format or layout when you go to different pages. Just to have some contrast between different things going on. Oh my gosh, my friend pulls up aliens. Aliens freak me out, oh my gosh.
That's scary.
It's a little bit scary. I have nightmares about aliens, but I like that your friends are aliens, and I'm happy for you.
I kind of like the designer who did this though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the photo selection is really cool.
Yeah, so Claire did this, and she had a lot of photos. She did a lot of reconnaissance and defining some content here. Oh my god, is selfies with my friends going to be pictures of you with aliens? I don't know what to expect when I click on this. It is! Oh my gosh. My nightmare, but apparently you want to have friends with aliens. I think that's cool. This guy looks very like, stop right now. Thank you very much. Gosh.
Dang,
Download file.
yeah.
This is surreal. This is really interesting.
Hey, this got the most reaction though. This
It did.
website did.
Yeah.
That's a big plus.
Yeah, and I mean Dropbox's redesign got a lot of feedback and criticism too. So I think it's a really cool idea. I feel like there's a lot going on. I would just focus on highlighting more of the content in a cleaner and more structured way. And so there are elements in design like grids and equal padding between elements, and it's cool to break those things if it's intentional, but it might be nice to do a little bit of both. So we have the contrast of following a grid compared to breaking it and it feeling a bit more intentional than just breaking it on every page. Yeah, this is really cool though. Thank you, Claire, for participating. Next up is Christian. Christian with the peaceful travel. I love the little logo at the top.
Yeah.
So this photo is really cool. I wish I could be there. This looks like a beautiful landscape. And it looks like we can click on the navigation, which is on the right-hand side, which is a little bit different than normally having it on the left. What's your first impression here, Alex?
I love the photo. The photo's really good. I think the yellow on top, I would love to see that logo be white. I think I would be able to be a little bit more legible, but I love the photo.
Great. And so when we click navigation, it takes over the whole screen. That's a very common style lately. Yeah, so we have a lot of different navigation elements here, which is nice. And then there's one more page. I don't know how to get there. Let's see if we do navigation. And then there should be...
Maybe it's just those?
Oh, here we go. I'm not sure how to get here, but we got to a page now for Tokyo, which is awesome. I've been to Tokyo twice. Highly recommend you go. And this photo does a good job of showcasing it. I like the consistency of the logo in the top center.
That's cool.
Yeah, and these, I'm not sure if they're supposed to be buttons or just visual elements, and the confusion there might need a little bit of clarity because I'm not sure what these are supposed to represent.
Yeah.
I think visually they're interesting, but I would try to click on them immediately, and I don't know if they're supposed to be buttons.
Yeah.
I guess they are because you have bars, clubs, restaurants. So if you click on this, maybe you see some more information about those different things. Yeah, I like this. And so if we go back to the home page, we had a lot of really great submissions. So thank you everyone for participating. And Alex, I have to ask, were there any that stood out to you?
Yeah, there were two.
What are the two that stood out to you?
Actually, there were three.
What are the three?
The one with the desert photo was definitely one, but that guy won. So
Yep.
it kind of was like, maybe he knows what to do.
Yeah, you seem like you know what you're doing here. Yeah.
So I liked his a lot. I think his is probably the most simplistic, and
Anna's, yep.
yeah, I like his. And then there was one with the blue photo. Remember that it was like the blue.
The blue.
That one.
Travel blog.
That one kind of just it feels so simple.
Yeah, I like
And,
it. It's very clean.
Yeah, if you go to my website, it's very simple and like just black and white. This feels it. I love the color. So this would be like, I like that one.
Great.
And there was one more.
Was it the one that felt like a blog with the handwritten text?
Yes, that was it.
Yeah, that one was really nice. Let's see. That was by Joy. Joy had to leave for work, but Joy's is really successful.
Yeah, Joyce is cool because it does feel like more of a travel blog.
Yeah, it's very appropriate for what we're giving them in terms of
Yeah.
the prompts.
Yeah.
So Alex, are you ready to pick a winner?
Yeah, I think I know who my winner is.
All right, well, here we go. Drum roll. Who's the winner for the challenge today?
I'm gonna go with Joy.
Joy!
I'm gonna go with Joy.
Congratulations. I know you left for work. Hopefully you're still listening, but congratulations. You're going to win a year of Creative Cloud. I think you made a good decision. It really showcases some of the functionality with the sticky header.
Right.
It showcases...
I just think that script font behind it just feels like you just see it.
It just like screams travel blog, right?
Yeah.
So congratulations, Joy. Thank you again, everyone, for participating. It was so much fun to go through all of these. I feel like everyone did a fantastic job, and now I'm inspired to do a travel blog about my recent road trip across the country.
You should. I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. We took some good photos too. So.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, and cool. Let's recap real quick about what we did today, what we're gonna do for the next 2 days. Yeah.
So today we just did the web application for the music production site. So imagine a SoundCloud and if Dribble had a baby, basically. I'm just gonna keep repeating that, but that's really what this is. It's just a website where people can sign up. Music producers can upload their content and have it streamed by the next Dr. Dre or whoever might be scouting them. And that's what we did today. We actually did the web app of that that first screen.
Yeah, and it turned out really nice. And Alex is still learning XD, so this is great
Yes.
proof that it's easy to learn.
Very easy.
And please stay tuned to tune in to Kevin Lee and Jessica Moon, who are up next to teach us a little bit about creating a mobile application for connecting people to social media influencers. Thank you so much for participating. There were so many good questions, and we'll be back again tomorrow.
Great.
Thank you. Bye.